Hey, I'm Ari Temkin, and this is what to know before heading into the Cowboys and Seahawks game on Sunday. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by betonline.ag, betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. What to know heading into the Cowboys Week 3 game against the Seahawks is the blueprint. And I know, I'm doing 2 blueprint videos in a row. What do you want from me, okay? But this is the Russell Wilson blueprint, and there's 2 of them. The first is the quarterback development blueprint. And that is, well, on your team, have a really good offensive line, really good defense, a really good running game. And then you put your quarterback in a situation where all he has to do is make a few easy throws per game, and they're going to be wide open because of how good your defense is, and because of how good your running game is, and because of how good your offensive line is. So it's just going to be really easy for a young quarterback to step in and be successful right away. Kind of like, Dak Prescott with the great offensive line and Zeke Elliott his rookie year, which Zeke did fabulously. But as the quarterback continues to develop, you kind of slowly develop him. You don't go from being heavily offensive line oriented defense with a great running game type team to being, now I'm going to pass the ball all the time, all over the yard, right? You have to slowly implement different styles to help figure out where he's good over the course of multiple seasons, because it's hard for a quarterback to process all the information that's coming at them, especially early on in the league when they're still learning a ton about the league. So that's what the Seahawks did. This perfect development, incremental over time with Russell Wilson that obviously today, in my opinion, has turned him into the best passer in the league. Apologies to Patrick Mahomes. The Seahawks were in position. They have this great defense, they have great offensive line, great running game, and so they can afford to pay the other positions because Russell Wilson, as a third-round draft pick, was taking up such a minuscule amount of their salary cap, and so they could pay other spots and be really, really good because they're paying their quarterback lesser money. Same with Dak Prescott, obviously. As Russ evolved, they started evolving away from this run-oriented, offensive line-centric defensive philosophy. And a big piece of that was because now your quarterback has to take up 18% of your salary cap, which is the second blueprint. The second blueprint here, and this is the one the Cowboys are currently deciding between, I suppose, is, okay, has this quarterback developed enough to where if he doesn't have the best offensive line, if he doesn't have a great defense, if he doesn't have a great running game, or he doesn't have great receivers, in the case of Russell Wilson, really none of those, with the exception of Tyler Lockett and some defensive players, are you able to still be successful? And therefore, are you willing to pay him 18% of the salary cap, right? Are you going to say, look, this guy is so good at lifting up other players that I don't have to be great and pay a bunch of money for offensive linemen or receivers or running backs or whatever, or defensive players, because I know that this guy will carry me and carry this franchise? That's the question we're deciding right now for Dak Prescott. Can he do that? More on that in a moment. The funny thing, though, about the Russell Wilson blueprint, at least as it pertains to the current iteration of the Seattle Seahawks, is, they've evolved and more of the offense is on Russ's shoulders, but not enough. And that's the criticism of Pete Carroll. In fact, you could argue Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. You could argue that Russell Wilson's the best quarterback in the league. You could certainly argue Lamar Jackson is as well. But Russell Wilson is the only quarterback in the NFL to have 3 consecutive 30 touchdown seasons. In fact, he's the only quarterback in the NFL to have at least 2 30-touchdown seasons. Patrick Mahomes had 50 last year, but less than 30 the year before that. So Russ, the only quarterback to have back-to-back 30-plus touchdown seasons back-to-back going into this season. Pretty crazy. But they still, and the biggest criticism of the Seahawks is let Russ cook. It's still too much of a run-centric, kind of try to rely on your defense team for a team that probably should be way more run-centric and would be more successful if they were. We talk about the efficiencies of passing the football as opposed to running, especially given that the Seahawks haven't had a great running game really in recent history. They should have a better running game this year, but still, let Russ cook. That's the idea that Seahawks fans have. So it's like with Mahomes, he's got all these weapons in Hill and Kelsey and Andy Reid, a coach that knows how to leverage his skill set, versus Russell Wilson that seems to have everything going against him. He doesn't have a great offensive line, hasn't for a long time. He does have Tyler Lockett, and he has had some good weapons over the years, but he makes his weapons. And then, the defense has some good players, but it's deteriorated from the Legion of Boom, obviously, right? And in addition to that, he also doesn't have this great coach and philosophy on offense from Brian Schottenheimer that's, leveraging his skill set in a way that, maximizes what he has from a talent perspective. But back to Dak. The question of Dak Prescott, and it's loomed throughout this offseason as contract discussions lingered. The biggest question, is he on that Russell Wilson level, right? And I'm not trying to say, is he the best quarterback in the league? But you pay guys 18% of the salary cap plus that make up for shortfalls that you have across the rest of your roster. So, the second half of last week's game against the Atlanta Falcons is a pretty good example of Dak Prescott, completely independent of the rest of Dak's career, right? Let's just focus. We could argue about the wins and the stats from before because he's proven to be a pretty consistent and good quarterback. I'm talking about moving forward right now, right? There's a history here, but I want to move beyond that and talk specifically about this team right now. The second half of the Falcons game, we saw and we saw this in the first half of the Falcons game as well, two undrafted free agents starting at left tackle to right tackle. Brian Knight, who played pretty well, but Terrence Steele, who's in way over his head and been putting the absolute worst spot, undrafted free agent, no mini camps, no OTAs, short trading camp, and go up against Aaron Donald and Grady Jarrett in your first 2 weeks. Good luck. So Terrence Steele's in a tough spot. Brandon Knight played okay, but you're still talking about two undrafted free agents starting at tackle. You also, I know they do have weapons in the receiving corps, but you also lost a pretty big piece of your weaponry in Blake Jarwin. And how about Dalton Schultz had the best game of his career in the second half of that Falcons game where he had 9 receptions for 88 yards and a touchdown, right? Now we're getting into this idea of does your quarterback make the rest of your team better? The 30-10, the 30 points that Dak Prescott and that Cowboys offense engineered in the second half to win that football game is a pretty good start in that question on whether or not he can do the very thing that the Cowboys and Cowboys fans want to see him do for him to get paid buku bucks this offseason. Cowboys and Seahawks pregame show starts with myself and Brian Broaddus at 12 o'clock on your home for Dallas Cowboys football, 105.3 The Fan, and of course, all across the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Consider hitting like or subscribe because I post Cowboys videos all the time. My video today has been sponsored by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, and by betonline.ag. Betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts.